Obviously people are turning up thinking that there's a match today and they're not finding a game going ahead. This is the beauty of the Irish League. Anyway, this gates, they're taking me through into the south stand. As you can see, there is a car parked here, but there's no sign of any life anywhere. Although, like, windows are open and things like that. So, unfortunately the ground, I was kind of hoping maybe the south stand or the cop at least might have been open and I could have gone and taken a few shots, but never mind. The ground was pretty much developed in the 1930s from what it was when it was first opened by Archie Leach. Or I should say when it was first opened in 1904, it was developed by Archie Leach, who developed grounds like Ibrox and Goodison Park, Villa Park. He didn't really go to the same extent with Windsor Park, admittedly, as he did with those grounds. Built a couple of stands, developed a railway end. The railway end was pretty much just a barrelled terrace. Now, as I was saying, gates are all closed now. See, you have to go between the barriers to get a glimpse. This is the south stand, the cop, the north stand, and what's currently left of the railway end. Up there is a club viewing lounge, which on match day gives you a great sight of what's going on the pitch. When Leach was finished with Windsor Park in the 1930s, they had a pretty impressive ground, much the same as any other ground in mainland UK. This south stand, as you can see, a lot of it's pretty new, but it's still got the basis of what was left, the far end of the old south stand. This side was actually known as the reserved end of the ground. Fans got to know it as the Gallagher's stand. It stood here until the 1970s and then was rebuilt. Linfield Superstore in there. They have two superstores. The other one is in the Shankill, where Linfield have a very strong support. And then you come through to things like Supporters Club, Players Entrance, etc. As you can see, all the gates and all the bars are all closed today because there's no match. And Kids Lounge, which is pretty much self-explanatory: big screen, pool table, video games, tuck shop. The thing about Irish League games is a lot of the time you find that more fans are in the social clubs during a match than are actually out watching the football. And then you come to the Players Lounge. So Linfield fans are here watching a game and they want to catch up with their favourites after a match. Through that door that they'll get them. I can actually just get a glimpse of some trophies up there. I don't know if I zoom, would I just see them? Yeah, but that's about as good a catch of the boardroom as I'm going to get anyway. And it's about as good a catch of the boardroom as most fans get when they're at games. Just there is the entrances that take the camera crew up onto the gantry for covering matches. They get to watch the game from up there on a Saturday afternoon. No Jackie Fullerton today. I dare say he might have been here for a Linfield Crusaders games, because the two teams went into today's football lying 3rd and 4th in the Irish League respectively after 5 games. Linfield were 3 points behind Glentoran this morning. Crusaders were a further point behind. That'll probably be different by the time I finished filming this, because by then they'll have kicked off in Glentoran's match, which is going ahead. That blue gate there takes you out onto the pitch. I did actually get pitch side when I came here to photograph 10 years ago, which is pretty good. It was a Linfield Distillery game that I came here to film. And there's the cop and the police control box. This should be taking me down towards Midgley Park, which is the reserve pitch, which was purchased in 1951. And you see just some more entrances into the cop stand. No shops or anything under there, which is curious, just a gantry. Plenty of space there to do stuff, but they never do. Get a reasonable view of the north stand from here. And again, the obligatory burger van. That box, by the way, is whenever Northern Ireland are playing international matches, you see them in their lovely wee studio, that's it. It's just basically half a porta cabin. So that's where Michael O'Neill and all and sundry do their games. This is where the reserves play, Midgley Park. I suppose it's fair to come and film this because most teams outside of the Irish League Premier Division, this is about as good as their facilities are, except for a social club. Midgley Park's as good as anything else. 2 dugouts and a metal barrier around a pitch. What more do you need to play a football match? And even a burger van as well. On away days, fans are sometimes allowed up through here past the leisure centre to try and avoid the fans clashing. Linfield, as I say, have played here unbroken since 1905. Probably their greatest season, as far as the fans are concerned, they would claim their greatest season would be 1962, when they won 7 trophies. And it's still very much a revered team among Linfield fans. But that's not strictly true. They actually only won 6 trophies in 1962. One of the 7 trophies they won was a competition called the North-South Cup. And that was held over from the previous season, 1961. So although they did win 7 trophies in 1962, they actually won 6 for that season. The 1961-62 North-South Cup was officially won by Glenavon. The competition was played twice that season. The 1922 team probably was the most dominant Linfield team of all time. They won all the trophies that they entered that season, which was actually, that was also 7 trophies. But to be fair to them, that was every competition that they played in that season. So in 1922 they were the league champions. They won the Irish Cup. They won a competition called the City Cup, which was initially open to Belfast teams, but by 1922 any team in Northern Ireland could take part, so it was effectively a national competition. And they also won the Gold Cup, which was also a national competition and was kind of a precursor to the League Cup in Northern Ireland. They also won the County Antrim Shield, which was a regional competition, still is a regional competition, but contains most of the best teams in Northern Ireland in it. A competition called the Belfast Charity Cup, which is now long since forgotten, but that again included the likes of Glentoran and Belfast Celtic. And also a competition that I know nothing about at all, called the Alhambra Cup. I don't know how often it was played for, but they won it just the once, and that was in 1922 when the team won 7 trophies. The traditional League and Cup double of Northern Ireland, they've done it 22 times, including most recently the last season that they're currently champions, 2009-2010. They won the league and they won the cup. They've also been to the quarterfinals of the European Cup at this stadium, 1967, when they lost by a solitary goal to CSKA Sofia. Who knows what would have happened if they got through that game. In total, I think they've won 11 games in European competition, not ties, but individual matches over the course of the year. They actually won here once 3-0 in a European tie, and only went and lost the second leg 4-0. As I was saying, today's game was called off because their goalkeeper, Alan Blaney, he was called up for international duty for Northern Ireland. I'm just going to say it again, they won 1-0 last night in Slovenia, start their Euro 2012 campaign. Blaney actually is the only member of the current squad to have played in the Premier League in England. He played 3 times for Southampton about 6-7 years ago, including one game against Newcastle where he won Save of the Season from Sky Sports for a save he made for Southampton against Newcastle.